Dear Arjuna, we are here in Sydney in your garden, and I would like to hear from you. What's the significance of the garden in your life?
Well, that's a very good question. Thank you for asking that, Aya. For me, it's a place of grounding. It's a place of really planting myself when I come back from the craziness of the city, the traffic. I've just been driving down around today. Come back here, and it's this nice, peaceful space that we've co-created. My partner Karen and myself, and we had a gardener that came in. And anyway, when we originally moved into the house, there was actually a lot of stuff that we had to clear away. There was an old aviary that was falling apart, so I had to clear all that away. And at the time, I was working in theatre and bookshops. I'd been a chemical engineer many years ago, but then I got into theatre and bookshops and making films, and I wanted to write a novel. So I decided to stay home for a while and just work at night in theatre, and I decided to set up a garden. And that was the first garden we created in this backyard. And it was a time when I began to reflect on the alchemical elements. So I had been trained in Western chemistry as a chemical engineer, but by that stage I was a long way from that. And I realised there was something else going on when I read Jung. And Jung wrote about the alchemical elements in a very different way and psychological properties they have. And I was doing a bit of yoga, which also related to the chakras. Each chakra has an alchemical element related to it. So I'm setting up this garden. I prepared the earth. I put in some compost and planted some seeds and watered them, made sure there was sunlight. And then each day I'd come out and water the seeds, and they started growing. And one day I was doing this watering of the seeds, and it suddenly struck me, these are the alchemical elements. Earth, I had to have the earth to put the seeds in, and then they were growing, and then each day I was giving it some water, and so they were beginning to grow, and there was the sun coming up each day. It was a springtime, a bit like today, when the sun really comes into our backyard. So there was fire, so earth, water, fire. There was air. I had to make space between the plants so that they had a place to breathe. And then there was ether, the all-providing life of space. It was there. All the alchemical elements were there. And suddenly it struck me that whereas as a chemistry student at university I was told this was a lot of medieval superstition, these alchemical things, making base metal into gold, Jung showed me that there was another way, and then my experience showed me there was an even deeper one. The systems of living systems depend on these elements. We have to have earth, water, air, fire, and ether, space, for all of us to live. All living systems all share these elements. So it gave me a real experiential understanding of how these elements work. So when I then came into Sufi practice and began doing the alchemical breaths, which I do in the garden every morning now, it really made sense to me that these elements are part of living systems. And so while Western chemists may not understand why they're doing what they're doing, the elements, the alchemical elements, we can use them as part of our own personal health, hygiene, as well as our mental health, as well as our spiritual connection. So that's the story of the original garden that was here.
Thank you.